we doing? Morning, Zinnia. How's everybody doing this morning? All good? Got a getting back into position trading next week. I've been working on what I'm going to be doing next week, so she'll start to build some positions. I started yesterday, well actually I started earlier this week with a little tester on some positions which all closed out yesterday. So I'm going to be doing pretty much the same as used to with the position trading, except I'm going to be using trend a lot more at the moment, just because of the way that the market is. Stuff is just trending hard at the moment, so I'm going to still be using mean reversion, but based on trend only. So going to be looking for mean reversion trades using a little bit less RSI, and I'm also going to change my exposure rules slightly. Normally I would have double exposure on an individual currency. The way I'm going to be trading, position trading, is I'm going to allow myself hedges as well. So going to still expose myself no more than twice in one direction, but with what's going on with the US dollar at the moment, I get the feeling when you look at it, we're going to see the, especially after what the happened at FOMC yesterday, I get the feeling we're going to be seeing the dollar whipsawing a lot more than normal moving forward, which means that we're going to be able to getting both directions on the US dollar based on what the other currencies are doing. So Aussie, if Aussie's weak, obviously we would expect Aussie US to do this sort of thing, rather than in the past where we've had mostly a consistently fairly strong US dollar. We would be looking just for shorts with the US dollar in control. But I think what's going to be happening in the foreseeable, based on what the Fed said yesterday, we're going to see a lot more strength and weakness on the US dollar in fits and spurts, a little bit like the Swissy. So I'm happy to sort of hedge a little bit more on individual currencies based on what it's doing from a trend perspective. So that's the plan anyway. So obviously, you know, things like we'll be looking for longs here, we'll be looking for shorts here, we'll be looking for longs, shorts, etc. And a lot of the stuff, obviously, as we know, is very trendy at the minute, and has been for, well, since Ukraine, basically. We've had a lot of trending pairs, and with the economy the way it is, I think we're going to continue to see a lot of strong trends. So using the moving average is basically a lot more, which we should be doing anyway. So FOMC yesterday, there was a lot of whipsaw. It wasn't particularly exciting. Let's have a look at the 15. So that's FOMC yesterday. We started off with a whipsaw, then we had a big strong move up, then we pulled back, pushed up, looked like we were going again, and then it just decided to sit there, and this morning it's absolutely collapsing. All the indices are collapsing again this morning before the open. So the US dollar, I was expecting to power up off the back of FOMC. We didn't get it. There was an awful lot more negative outlook. Sorry, 8:30 is the Swissy, so I was just checking the time. There was a lot more negative outlook coming out of FOMC last night. Powell was, I mean, for the last few months they've been talking up the, you can see obviously all this is FOMC last night, lots and lots of red in there. Been talking up basically, it's going to be okay, we're going to have a fairly soft landing, we'll be doing all right, not really a problem. Last night was very much a case of, yeah, it's a little bit worse than we thought, so obviously we will put the rates up bigger than expectation. and as I said yesterday, it's not often the Fed changes its mind. What we have forecast from the Fed is what we get from the Fed. It's very rare that we don't get the Fed talking basically what they forecast, and it happened last night. 1.75. There was a lot of talk by Goldman and a lot of the big firms about them putting the rates up, and it happened. So last night, with the rate increase, along with that came a lot more of a cautious, this is worse than we thought. The soft landing we were talking about, it might be a little bumpier than we thought. We will be looking at 0.25 to 0.5 increases, but we might be putting some 0.75s in there as well. I think what we're going to see moving forward is probably a lot more of this. Not just from the Fed, from all countries. We've got the UK today, forecast to go up 0.25%. Bailey might come out and stick this up 0.5 today. We don't know. We've had it last week as well, haven't we? So the inflation figures are getting faster and harder than any of the banks were expecting, and they're having to catch up by putting the interest rates up, which is making everything a lot more difficult and the outlook a lot gloomier than they thought was going to be. So with that comes a lot more volatility and typically less strength in the currency. And what we need, I don't think is there a currency strength meter on here? No, it hasn't got one today. But you see the currency strength meters coming up on here. What we're typically doing, obviously, when we're trading, we are looking at two currencies, and we're always playing off one against the other. So if the outlook on the US dollar is strong and the outlook on the Canadian dollar is weak, for example, we want to be looking for longs on the US dollar CAD. What we have at the moment is a situation where we have the euro at the moment is very, very weak. The pound at the moment is very, very, very weak. The New Zealand dollar and the Aussie dollar always flip-flop against other currencies, but they've been a little bit stronger than normal, but at the moment they are very, very weak. The only thing we've got any strength in at the moment, based off of oil and Aussie dollar to a certain extent, off of mineral deposits, which is obviously a big export of theirs. So we've got CAD, we've got a bit of strength on the CAD. The yen, as we know, absolutely shot to pieces, falling out of bed, has been for ages. And the US dollar was kind of we want something strong, a currency to be strong so that we can play it off against the others. With what happened yesterday, the outlook on the US dollar isn't particularly rosy either. So that leaves us in a situation where we don't have any strong currencies. At the moment, the only thing that's got potential to have any strength is a CAD. So every currency we've got is bearish. When you've got two bearish currencies trading against each other, you tend to get a range or a gradual downward channel as one of those currencies, or a gradual upward channel as one of those currencies is ever so slightly stronger than the other weak currency. So I think what we're going to see is a lot of continuations on trends that we've got at the moment. So anything that is currently trending is probably going to continue to trend. And we'll get obviously nice deep pullbacks. So what I'm going to be looking for is this sort of price action to start getting into positions around these levels. I'm going to assume that we're going to continue with our trends. The other thing that we're potentially going to see is a lot of sideways action. So a lot of movement up and down within these trends. So big strong pushes as something has good news, and then as soon as that good news is forgotten about, pulling back. So I think at the moment we've not really got a positive outlook on anything. Everything is weak. The yen, obviously, we know is absolutely shot. Everything has been really, really, really strong against the yen. Even the euro. The euro has been on its knees forever. it's been beating the yen. The yen has been absolutely destroyed recently. Although they've got a good outlook, they've got a good plan in place, they just haven't executed that plan very effectively at the moment. And Friday, tomorrow, is when we're going to find out what they're doing. So we've had some strength coming in on the yen. So there is potential that the yen is going to go back to its good old safe haven status, and we're going to start to see some more yen strength coming through. But again, we're going to find that out tomorrow when Kuroda does the Bank of Japan press release. Basically the same thing as we had last night with the FOMC press conference. So this is the Bank of Japan's version of FOMC, and we're going to get their monetary policy statement. We've got the same thing with the pound today. We don't have a press conference as such with the pound, but we are going to get the monetary policy statement, summary as we call it, and the rates. So by the end of this week, we're going to know pretty much the stance of every currency. But at the moment, it's looking like pretty much every currency is weak. Yen is still stuffed. They are still buying up the yen like it's going out of fashion. Every time they get hold of any money, they're buying their own currency, and their own currency is falling through the floor. So all you're doing is you're buying up something that is devaluing, which is making it devalue faster and harder. And it's, you know, they've got to dig themselves out of that. And that's what I'm expecting Kuroda to do tomorrow, is to come up with some kind of plan, or come up with an execution of the plan that they've already got to start that ball rolling. So at the moment, if you look at the COT report, I think I've actually got the COT report. Oh, that's good, website's down. What? Brilliant, website's down. Okay, we'll have a look at that in a bit. So yeah, looking at the COT report, you'll see that everything is pretty much bearish at the minute. So it's not good for any currency. And as such, I think we're going to get a lot of either strong trending movement or a lot of sideways. Sideways is great for mean reversion. Trending is great for mean reversion in line with trend. So that's basically what I'm going to be doing. And that's the plan, basically, moving forward, until we get some kind of currency that actually has any strength. Obviously, currencies are going to strengthen and weaken, which is what they do. But you know, the market's not going to stop. They're still going to be going into buy cycles and sell cycles. Every time they're taking a buy, they've still got to get out of that buy, which means they've got to take a profit, which means we're going to get a pullback. I just want to be more in line with what is currently happening at the moment. So things like this, obviously, the euro yen, I'm just going to be looking for long positions out of here, unless something happens fundamental, which means that the yen is going to go massively strong. But even if it does, we're probably going to get those pullbacks. So that's the plan moving forward, getting back into the position trading side of things. The RSI is a lot less effective in a trend. Yeah, so you know, you can see it here. When you've got something which is trending hard, we'd be looking for RSI extensions to the downside. You get them, it's just a lot more difficult to find them. So I'm going to be using the 24 a lot more, and looking for entries. In fact, pretty much every 24 here was an RSI as well. That one wasn't there, so we had an RSI extension there which didn't get to the 24. But so you know, very much similar to how I used to trade before the war in Ukraine broke out, just with a few slight differences. The other thing I'm going to be looking at is support resistance bounces as well. So I'll be looking for anything that is getting down to support, and taking positions at support resistance regardless of RSI as well. Because obviously when you've got things which are moving in a trend, we get pullbacks into levels like here, for example, and the bounces where we don't get anywhere near an RSI extension. So I'm going to be looking for support resistance bounces as well. And obviously there'll be two types of trades going on: support resistance bounce trades, and there'll be RSI extension trades and 24/72 moving averages. So same stuff, just slightly little bit more relaxed with the rules, because I don't think we're going to find, as you can see at the moment, RSI is going to be quite as effective in the current market conditions. Because I think we're going to get a lot of stuff which is going to be doing this sort of thing. When you're doing that sort of thing, you're not getting that sort of movement. Therefore, you're not getting the RSI extensions. So that's the plan. Did the market actually open? Haven't got the crickets on. I'm not scalping. I'm taking the rest of this week off scalping, as I said. So yeah, sorry, I haven't looked at the indices yet. They're on my list. I will be in a minute. Let's have a look at them now. Yeah, well, the market did open. The problem is, where are we? Just opened 5 minutes ago, isn't it? The problem is we've had such a big, strong move on everything off the back of FOMC. They've basically come back down to FOMC levels on the indices after all that whipsawing and mucking about yesterday. Morning, everybody, by the way. I've just seen everybody says morning. Alan, Stevie, Diamond, Ladder. Yeah, just pull back, basically. But very weak open this morning. Aftermath. This is, you have to think of this like the market was out partying last night. They're all hungover. So it's a bit of a lackluster open this morning. But yeah, looking at the dailies, obviously we had the bull day, lovely 3-bar reversal, went in off of FOMC, didn't get the gap fill. We did have a go at yesterday's, the day before's high though in FOMC. So we still got this gap, and we've pulled back down today, so it would be good for them to come up and sort this gap out. But like I said, market yesterday was a lot more bearish, morning Jesse, on the US dollar than I was anticipating them to be, and a weak US dollar equals a strong market. It's difficult to see what's going to happen. I want to get, this is kind of why I'm giving the rest of this week a miss, because I want to see what happens with the UK rate today, and I want to see what the Bank of Japan says tomorrow. But at the moment, what we've got is a US dollar yesterday that basically weakened off of FOMC. So I want to see what they decide to do with the US dollar from here for the next couple of days, because that gives us an idea really as to whether or not the market actually now is thinking, yeah, dollar, not too sure about it anymore, because we've had a massive run up, haven't we, on the US dollar. So I get the feeling the market is now going to be shrinking away from it potentially, but I want to see it happen. I want to see this reversal on the 4 hour, or I want to see them break back these highs and them continue with US dollar strength. I need to know what they're going to do with it. And that will obviously have the inverse effect typically on the markets. So we're seeing US dollar come down, we should see indices go up. Temporarily, short term obviously. So selling coming in this morning though, again. You know, this just, like I said, at the moment the strategy on indices is hit the sell button, keep hitting the sell button until you make a load of money. Just position trade it if you want to. Just hit the sell button, and if it goes up to there, hit the sell button again. If it goes up to there, hit the sell button again. At some point this thing's coming back down again. We are nowhere near obviously doing the, we're nowhere near where we're going yet. Got a long way to go still. So, still bearish, which is what makes me think US bullishness. But we didn't get that yesterday. So again, just another confusion in the market. Yeah, we would expect a little bit of strength, but you know that is due as well, isn't it? We know it's due on these indices. They're absolutely shot. So potentially that could be what happens. But I want to see it play out over the next couple of days. Need to take a step back sometimes, just have a look at what the hell is going on. Let me just turn the crickets down a little bit. Bit noisy. You can see them all there. So today, 8:30 in 20 minutes, we have Swiss franc. So SMB very rare they will ever change this. This should come out as 0.75. If it doesn't come out as 0.75, we know the world's in trouble, because if the Swiss National Bank says, as they did on Monday, we're definitely going to do 0.75, and they come out at 1, something really, really bad is going on. But obviously, was the SNB expecting that yesterday? Who knows at the minute. So we got the Swiss National Bank in 20 minutes. So we may well see the markets being a little bit dormant until the SNB rate announcement. We might also see a little bit of sideways rotational movement today ahead of the bank rates. So this is the next big deciding factor. We've got a very, very weak pound at the moment. So there's a good chance that we might get some strength off the pound this afternoon. So we're just waiting, I think, the markets this morning. I think we'll probably find you're going to sit in a rotation for a little bit this morning. Although they are still, they've pushed down pre-market pretty hard, and it seems to be coming down very nicely at the open. So we may well just get that sort of thing until lunch, but we'll see. Morning, Kennelly, I'm going to call you, because your name is C. Kennelly, and I don't know what your first name is. We'll see what happens there. A little bit of buying starting to come through. So just be a bit careful with these this morning. I think we're probably going to be a bit whippy up and down. So just follow price action, basically, whatever it's telling you. If we're getting big tails, go long. If we're getting big tails to the downside, go short, basically. Right, so looking at FX at the minute, ADRs at the moment, we've got a few weekly ranges hit. The monthlies we know about are all starting to play out. So we're on Thursday. Most of these we kind of looked at have all kind of played out. Aussie New Zealand's hit ADR today. So again, with ADRs, I'm going to be looking at ADR reversals as initial entry points, but in line with trend. So if we've got an ADR hit to the upside, I'm not shorting it. If we've got an ADR hit to the downside and we're in a bull trend like we are at the moment with Aussie New Zealand, I'll be taking an entry. So ADR entries to the downside. So I'm not looking for ADR shorts. But equally, obviously these do play out. This is a good potential support resistance bounce. So again, just taking positions and then scaling in depending on what's happening, but I want to try and stay in line with the trend as much as possible, really. So Aussie New Zealand's just hit. We've got a lovely sweep of the high off of that one this morning. Obviously this is all being caused by the Aussie news overnight, which was the unemployment change. So that didn't just come out positive, came out massively positive. But the unemployment rate didn't change. But if you look at that 1 percentile difference compared to what it was previously, not a massive difference, but we have got a big positive difference there. So big move, big positive news on the Aussie, but not particularly impactful. All we did for the rest of the session was accumulate with all of these. In fact, dropped a little bit on these as well. So accumulated or dropped. So nothing particularly exciting off of the Aussie news from overnight. So that Aussie New Zealand ADR reversal, I would be looking more for longs on the Aussie New Zealand. Again, doesn't take a rocket scientist to see which way you should be looking to enter trades with this one. So that's all we've got on the ADRs at the moment. The weeklies, we'll have a quick whiz through the weeklies because there might be a few of these with potential opportunities. So Aussie dollar CAD obviously is extended to the upside on the weekly, so that's a good entry. Short. Difficult to get a reversal alert on that this morning on M5 basically, or M15 because of FOMC. So you kind of want to be jumping into this now really. Asian low break is just happening now. So that is pretty good for a short, obviously, because we are massively extended on that. So actually, that's the pullback, isn't it? Where's Monday? Was it 130? Oh yeah, 140. That was a hit to the downside. Or was that a hit to the upside? Should really change this dash so that it actually tells me direction, shouldn't I? Yeah, no, it was a hit to the upside. So yeah, short entry. Short entry this morning on that. It was kind of in Asia though, so slightly missed that one. Aussie New Zealand, again, massive extension to the upside. I'd rather be taking longs on that one. Aussie dollar, US dollar, again, that was a hit to the downside. That one played out already. Euro pound, that one's already played out. Euro shorts, oh my god. I cleared up yesterday. Everything I banked yesterday was euro pretty much. It was all opposite trades on the euro. Yeah, thing absolutely melted away yesterday. All the euros melted back down again. Still shorting the euro, still looking to short the euro every opportunity at the moment. Until obviously they say something fundamentally different. So euro pound, obviously that's played out. Euro New Zealand's played out. Pound CAD. That one basically was a hit to the downside. That one played out already. So yeah, I think these are all done, aren't they? Pound US. That one was started playing out on Tuesday. And US dollar CAD. That one played out yesterday. So yesterday, US dollar CAD, that was the ADR, average weekly range hit to the upside, and that came back off of FOMC, but it's pushing back up again. So this is what I'm waiting to see today and tomorrow. This yesterday's high and low, basically, which is the spike of FOMC. Are we bullish or bearish on the US off the back of what was said yesterday? Waiting for the market to give some kind of indication as to whether or not they're long or short. You can't really take FOMC and the press conference into account. You need to wait. The market needs to absorb this information, look at what's already factored into the market, and then they will adjust their positioning. So we need to give it time to establish a direction, really. But at the moment, I'm anticipating bullishness still, just based off what is going on with these indices at the minute. So we will see. So nothing else on the weeklies there. Hourlies, nothing's lit up at all. 4 hourlies, we've literally got Aussie New Zealand extended. So nothing else particularly interesting to look at. Aussie New Zealand on the 4 hour is only just extended up there. But as I said, this is a double top short, but I'd rather be long on this one. So there's not really much to look at other than that this morning. So as I said, the strategy moving forward with position trading is going to be very much the same as before, if you weren't here right at the beginning. So going through every pair, I'm going to be looking for anything that's getting into the 2472 zone. So any pullbacks basically into 2472 area, I'll be shorting out of. In this case, obviously. Aussie dollar Swiss, so things like this where we're seeing things completely and utterly range bound, be looking for support resistance bounces, still scaling in though, so looking for resistance bounces. If they don't work, I'll be looking for next level resistance bounces. By then we will be in the downtrend area. So I'll be on the wrong side of it. Just got to do the same with any positions, just using that market movement to get out of the positions. The yen pairs, still looking for longs at the moment, but dependent on what Kuroda says tomorrow. If the market has a very strong positive reaction to Kuroda tomorrow, I shall be shorting everything against the yen, I think. We have got to a point now with a lot of these yen pairs, where we've had that big run up, which has just gone on and on and on and on and on. We had the pullback, then we were like, no, yen's still weak. And then we hit that magic level. It's very funny, isn't it? That Kuroda said we'll take it to 135. It got to 135 and we stopped. And everything started to power up. So, yeah. I just get the feeling this is it. The market's had enough. Well, not the market. Japan has had enough. It can't keep letting this happen. They need to step in and do something about the yen. So, so that's the plan basically. So what I'm going to do next week, I think, obviously we're paying attention to RSIs because RSIs are going to identify levels anyway that are extended. But I think what I'll do every day next week is whiz through every pair and just do a quick anything interesting. And I'll be using the EA basically to get me into positions based on what my portfolio is, and obviously keeping a close eye on the portfolio and exposure, and just basically taking trades based off of whatever I'm seeing on the charts. So support, resistance, bounces and trend continuations all work. It's just a case of at the moment I think we're going to just get a lot more movement because a lot more sideways and sort of channeled movement because we got nothing strong. Anybody got anything specific they want to look at? I'll do a quick whiz through of all the pairs today if you want to. I'm not going to take any positions today. I'm still getting my accounts sorted. I'm amalgamating all my money into one account basically. Well, I've done that actually. So I'm just going to be trading that account, one account. Let's have a quick look at what the DAX is up to. Melting. Anybody short on this morning? Wow, really went out the gates this morning, didn't it? Opening range breakout low. So look at where we're going. So we've got this level of support coming up. Potentially. This area down here. From yesterday. Failing that. Heading back down there. It's just another melting day, isn't it? Not good. Not good at all. Diamond's in DAX short. Cool. Be careful at this this level here. Probably get a little bit of reaction down here. We've been selling off solid now for the last 20 minutes. So we've got 5 minutes until the SMB announcement. I might just stick financial juice on. Just so we can hear the SMB announcement. So there's our currency strength. So this is what I was talking about earlier when I was looking for currency strength because they didn't have one up at the time. This is obviously intraday, which is very little use because by the time you've identified something is strong intraday, you've missed it because it's strong. It's already got to where it's going. So you want to be looking for the alternatives. You want to be looking for outliers and then playing mean reversion on the outliers ideally intraday. But if you look at a daily version of this, you'll find most currencies are like this at the minute, with the yen sitting down here somewhere. Actually, well, you find most currencies are sort of like this at the minute. Everything's really, really weak. So we'll leave him on. Stay in until the propulsion gap on the 4 hour. What, down there? That's a hell of a long way to go. That's a swing trade. I'll be watching the lows here. If these lows don't hold, yeah, back down there. It's a long old drop, that. Not going to get there in the day. That'd have to be an overnight hold, obviously. But yeah, melting today. Markets are not happy at all at the moment. That was our bounce. So a little bit of buying coming through. So there's that level at the moment. That's why I said watch this level here. There's a load of limit orders sitting down there. People will be buying up the lows. Whether or not that holds or not, we will find out. Right, so I'll have a quick whiz through everything. Obviously, looking at everything today, H4 is the main time frame I'm going to be analysing, which is what I always use as my main sort of trend analysis and support resistance levels. But obviously anything today is kind of going to be dependent on what happens with the SMB, the pound and the yen. So what I'm saying today could easily flip on a coin this afternoon or tomorrow morning. But yeah. I have one at 13,150 on your chart, do you? Oh, good on there. $13,150.
1 minute remaining.
Yeah, I haven't got one there, but different charts, different brokers. I take it candle by candle. Yeah. If you're scalping, you want to, pay attention. Limit orders are being bought up here. 15 seconds. That's bullish. Buyers are coming in. Can always get back in. So we've got less than a minute to go.
10 seconds.
10 seconds to go. Let's watch US dollar Swiss. Buying strong Swiss franc.
Swiss National Bank announces rate hike. Hike 50 basis point, hike 50 basis points to minus 0.25%. That's higher than the forecast of no change.
Holy crap. Wow.
Reading through the Swiss National Bank to ensure
that never happens.
The S&B is also willing to be active in the foreign exchange market as necessary. The S&B is tightening its monetary policy and is raising the S&B policy rate and the interest rate on sight deposits at the S&B by half percentage points to minus 0.25% to counter increased inflationary pressure.
Wow. S&B's increasing the rates. Well, there you go. There's another spanner in the works. So that's going to make it's going to make the SMB less attractive for investment.
Inflation at 2.8%, but the previous forecast was 2.1%.
So
inflation at 1.9%, previous forecast 0.9%, and the 2024 inflation at 1.6%, previous forecast was 0.9%.
So a 0.75% increase in inflation, unexpected 0.75% increase in inflation for the Swiss area. So, wow, that's The markets are not going to like that much. Right, yeah, well that's yeah. This is what I mean. The markets at the minute are so difficult to read. There's just unexpected sector changes coming all the time. Every bank is basically you can't pay any attention to any forecasts. So including the rates that we had previously for the Aussie dollar, they were the first to kick it off with an unexpected rate change. So far, pretty much every central bank has gone back on what it said it was going to do. Swissy that's a real shock. So we're getting close to positive. ECB rate change, I pretty much you can say that whatever the ECB says they're going to do in July, they're going to do more, because if the SNB is putting their rates up, I can't see any reason why they won't.
The effects of war has been most clearly felt in the high energy prices and in the supply bottlenecks.
Right, yeah. So if you can obviously see what impact that's had on the Swissy. The Swissy's going absolutely tonto. That's the biggest move I've seen for quite a while. ADR's going off all over the place. I just want to see what impact that's having on the euro.
It says China and Russia support each other on core interests.
Okay, so very little impact on the euro on that. Markets are not happy about that at all. Did you get out, D? Or are you still in it? Hold. 200% in 5 minutes. Whee! Hold on to your hats. Jesus, this is not stopping either. I'm good. I've hit daily goal on this push, so next entry I'll look for a move to break even and let it run. Yeah, sorry. Just catching up on what you said.
At 3:45 AM Eastern Time, we have ECB's Villara speaking.
Okay, the press conference is tentative on the Swissy, so keep your eyes peeled on that as well. So that makes a big difference to potential outlook. Huge strength in the Swiss franc off the back of that. So obviously the Swissy, we see the Swissy being a kind of a safe haven. A lot of talk of the Swiss franc becoming the new safe haven. But that to me is a very good indication that may well be happening. So it's interesting that you get a rate increase there. So if I've got savings, I'm going to earn more now, putting it in the Swiss National Bank. It's still negative, but where we saw the Swissy being less and less and less used, we're probably going to see that happening an awful lot more now, which is great because the US dollar Swiss should now come back to life again. We'll get the Swiss franc pushing the US dollar around like it used to. US dollar Swiss used to be one of my favourite pairs to trade. It's been dead, but that's certainly come back to life. No impact on the other currencies as far as I can see, so no one else worried about that. Just a lot of money flooding into the Swissy. So really good fade opportunities on these. You're getting the mother of all propulsion gaps about to form on all Swiss franc pairs. So I doubt very much we're going to see this fade all the way back. but we should come back and retest it. So if we continue to drop in the next sort of 15 minutes to hour, Jesus, look at it go. Wow. Should we have a little gamble on what we reckon the RSI is going to get to? Do you reckon we could see it hit 0? We got down to 5, didn't we, the other on the yen? Euro yen, wasn't it? I think it always got down to 5. We got up to 5, 9 to 5. Wow, look at it. Absolute collapse. Alan, how much does financial juice cost? It's free, but it's delayed.
Traders raise ECB hike bets. The simplest price is 189 basis points, up 12 basis points.
You get adverts in it as well, but when it says delayed, as you saw there, it's delayed by a few seconds. If you're a news trader, if you're trying to trade the news, you want it on the second. If, like me, you're not news trading, I'm using this to find out what's going on within 10 seconds of it happening, the delayed feed is free and just use it. You don't need it. Wow, that's a shock. That's a real shock. God, do I wish I had some shorts on that. 225. How many people do you think are holding on to this that were short? When do you get out of that? Crazy. Okay, so obviously big news there. You know, again, partly why I'm waiting. I was not expecting that one, but I am anticipating potentially a change there, and obviously interested in yen tomorrow. So we'll see what happens this afternoon with the Bank of England. We may well get a similar impact off of that, which will be very interesting. This thing is not stopping. What do we reckon? 300 ADR? 350? I'll quickly recode the dashboard to go up to 400. Never needed it before, but whew. God, do you want to hit the buy button on this? Mental. Jesse closed the NAS short this morning at break even. Didn't even go into DD. Would currently be 230 points. Yes. Market was selling off hard this morning, obviously before that news. So you got to ask the question: did somebody know? Wow. Really good fade opportunity on this. Can you imagine them doing a V-shaped recovery on this? You could absolutely clear up. Literally hit the buy button, stick a stop under the low, see what happens. If that does a V-shaped recovery now, you can make a fortune. Wouldn't do it in too many pairs at once. But wow. Okay. So just obviously be aware of the rest of this afternoon. The pound, very volatile. Some big players stepped in there. So let's have a look at everything and do a little bit of analysis on everything. Nothing else has been affected by that. Let's just have a quick look at what's happened to the other markets. Yeah, they've all come down off the back of that. S&P as well. FTSE's dropped out of bed. FTSE's really dropped out of bed. Dow's down at the lows. So the Dow's just about to break new low, or just has broken new lows. So we're back down. Again, another new low. No pullback whatsoever on this move. Just didn't get anything. The market's just destroyed at that. So I'm interested to see what happens with that. No impact on gold. Poor old Bitcoiners. Right. So Aussie dollar CAD, obviously bearish, looking for bearish moves. Excuse me. So obviously we've got a lovely structure of lower highs going in. That's on the same candle, but yeah, very, very bearish at the moment on this one. So nice downward movement, pulls back up into the 24. This is a prime example of what I'm looking to do. Every time we get up into this area, I'm shorting. Yeah, every touch on the 24, looking to get in short. Two reasons. First one being, obviously, if we get the trend continuation, this is where we will start to see sellers starting to step in. Secondly, if it does push up further, you're going to get an RSI extension on it. So if you're not already extended on RSI when you get to the 24, typically when you get to the 24, obviously you're very near, or you are already extended anyway on the RSI. But with the trending pairs, quite often you're not getting there. Things like Aussie New Zealand, for example. So 24 didn't quite get to anywhere near the RSI extension there. This one, we weren't at the RXI extension, but we got to the RSI extension. Yeah, so got to the RSI extension and it pushed off. So that's basically what I'm looking for. Aussie dollar CAD, so shorts, perfect spot to take shorts from now. And obviously targeting lows. So always, whenever you're taking a short on a trend, your initial target is always going to be the low, although obviously what you will be expecting it to do is make a new low. That's the whole point of market structure, is if this pullback is part of a continuation market structure, you're going to get a new lower low put in. So initial target is always going to be the low for a double bottom, but your target should always be much deeper than that. So from there, obviously looking continuation move to the downside. So again, on these ones, Aussie CAD, I'll be dropping down M15, M5, looking for reversal alerts. Very little difference between the two. Again, I said yesterday I was going to do a lot of analysis. Spent all day in the simulator yesterday with the reversal alerts EA, testing various scenarios. I've come to the conclusion, the vast majority of the time, the difference between an M15 and an M5 reversal alert is very little. If you look at the levels you get in at on M5 and M15, you won't find a massive amount of difference. So you can see the bottom of the rectangle there is 89,866. On M5, the bottom of the rectangle is there. You know, it's very, very little difference. So it doesn't matter really if you're running H4 M15 or you're running H4 M5. There's very little difference, because what you're usually finding is that M15 candle, this is M5 obviously, but an M15 candle is made up of a couple of 2 or 3 M5 candles, so therefore you'll find the low will be pretty much in the same place the vast majority of the time. So I'm planning on entering on M5. The reason entering on M5 is because you get more alerts on M5. So I'll be getting in sort of tighter, I think, is what I'm looking for. So, but either way, Aussie dollar CAD drop down, looking for those reversal alerts. So you're looking for some kind of market structure shift to tell you that this is going to continue in its current shape, which it is, hopefully. Aussie dollar Swiss, yeah.
Villarez says inflation is not only higher but also broader.
Let me just turn them off for a minute. So yeah, continuation to the downside on this. We are getting a pullback already. It's putting off the lows very fast. We've got a lot of buying coming in on the indices as well. So this could be a knee-jerk reaction. Again, we need to wait and see what happens with it. But big, strong push down. pull back and drop. So looking for continuation move to the downside. Obviously this is what we've had on this. So new lower low gone in, new lower high. So continuation to the downside. Aussie dollar Swiss. I wouldn't want to be shorting it necessarily down here. Short it somewhere on this retracement, but this thing could retrace. You never know. This could be a complete V-shaped recovery on M5, M15. But if you want to stick a fib on it, on the move, there's your M15 candle. We're already at a 38 retracement. Somewhere around here is, if you're going to want to get in short, it's probably a good place to do it. So yeah, Aussie dollar Swiss, looking for shorts at the moment. Obviously Swiss franc, we can't really do any technical analysis on it because it's just had a whacking great candle put in. Aussie dollar yen at the moment, looking for longs. Long was out of there. We had a nice RSI extension. We had an M5, M15 reversal alert on it yesterday. Day before, which has played out very nicely. At the moment, bias long, but come Friday, come tomorrow morning, that might shift. So right now, yeah, looking for long opportunities, but I would leave any yens until tomorrow. Aussie, New Zealand, continuation longs. So the entry was here. It's already played out. Looking for pullbacks and continuations. So any kind of pullback really for longs. So look at using the support rectangle as well. So any kind of pullback into support, long opportunities. Aussie US short based on US dollar strength. Again, we need to see what happens with FOMC yesterday. What they're going to do today and tomorrow will be likely based on yen decisions. Money will flow in or out of the US dollar based on what happens with the yen. So we need to really wait and see what Kuroda says tomorrow morning. But at the moment, I would anticipate sort of neutral to strong US dollar based on what happened yesterday, but not, I don't think we're going to have a massively strong US. I think we're going to have a mediocre US. So again, this could well just go into some kind of range from here, based on obviously strength coming through on the Aussie, strength coming through on the US, one of them going quiet, one of them strengthening up, continuation sort of that, but more of a down channel than an up channel, and obviously using moving averages here, yeah, we want to be shorting. CAD Swiss, again, good luck. Not trading that at the moment. Canadian dollar is still strong, still expected to be strong. Therefore, I'll be looking for longs on it. How much strength is going to come into the Swissy off the back of this rate announcement change? Don't know. This is pretty unprecedented, the Swiss franc. We do not get this happening, as we've seen. Just doesn't happen. So, yeah. What the market's going to make of that, I don't know. They came out on, it was in here, it was in this Financial Juice feed, yeah. Earlier this week, Monday, Tuesday, they said, we will be 0.75. We will be doing 0.75. Then again, the Swiss National Bank is renowned for doing things like this, isn't it? Remember when they removed the peg? They just came out one day and says, we're removing the peg. Crashed the markets, half the brokers went bankrupt overnight. So this is one of those Swiss franc moments. So we need to really watch and see what the market makes of this. At the moment, they're very happy to put their money in the Swissy. So if this is going to be, somebody was saying about this a few weeks ago, last month, before I went on holiday, about potential. There was an article, the potential for the Swiss National Bank to become the new safe haven because of the interest rates. Everything else is putting their interest rates up faster than expected. Although the Swiss National Bank has just done that, they are still way lower, their interest rates. They're negative interest rates still. which is way lower than everybody else's. So it is very attractive to have your money excuse me, going through the Swiss national banking system. So I think it may well strengthen that up. You don't want to hold it there, obviously, because the interest rate's lower than everywhere else, but that's not what the interest rates are. It's the cost of doing business overnight. It's the overnight rate. So I think that's going to make that more attractive. So we'll keep a close eye on all the Swissies, but right now analysis on these things is obviously pointless. CAD yen at the moment, expecting continuation. Same thing, depending on what Kuroda does tomorrow. If it comes out as pretty much same as what they've been saying before, I think we will still see continuation weakness. Euros all bearish still. So although we've got this is exactly the type of price action that I think we're going to get on a lot of currencies. We've had a very weak euro, which is ever so slightly powered up. We've got an Australian dollar, which has weakened. So what we see then is two weak currencies against each other. Whoever's got the biggest bat at the time will move the market. Therefore, you can get in really easily on any kind of strength in movement. Pretty much is going to unravel itself, because they can't sustain that move for long, because there's not a sustained interest in investing in the currency. Therefore, as soon as people go, actually, no, we're not going to bother anymore, it just takes a tiny bit of strength in the other one to pop it back down again. So that's the sort of price action I think we're going to start to see. It's going to get a lot more choppy, a lot more messy, but that's really good for mean reversion. So, but with a bias on what has been historically happening, continuing to happen. So Euro odd, be looking for short opportunities on it. It's a bit of a mess at the moment, so this is more of looking at this right now, you'd be thinking, right, I'm looking for support resistance plays. So when it gets down to there, be looking for long opportunities, options to scale in as we drop. Euro CAD, same thing, looking for shorts. 24, again, that would have been a straight in, straight out trade. Lovely drop. Immediately we pushed up into the 24.72 zone, straight back out of it. So shorts on that one. Didn't hold for very long, this, did it? This is this expanding wedge we were looking at. Really hard to trade these. So more short than long, obviously, but it's already happened, so missed it. If you're not in it. Euro Swiss, no idea. Euro pound, again, weak currency against a weak currency. You get these very gradual channels with lots and lots of movement in them. So unbelievably looking for longs on the euro against the pound. But again, that can all flip at 12 o'clock today when the interest rates come out. If this is going to go 1.5, we possibly see some strength coming through on the pound this afternoon. If it's more hawkish, or with the votes, i.e. if there's more indication of they want to do more rate increases, again, that's indicative of a much faster rate increase in the future. Again, something that could power up the pound a little bit, but with the economy the way it is at the moment, and the cost of living crisis and the amount of money the government is having to shell out, not looking good for the pound. But this is what I mean with a weak currency against a weak currency. Doesn't really matter where you get in. If you're getting short here, you just keep getting in short until it does that. If you're getting long here, you just keep getting in long until it does that. So that's the sort of play on the euro pound, really, but ideally staying in line with what the current trend is, which is at the moment euro is stronger than the pound. Never thought I'd see it. Euro yen longs, again, based on yen. We've got a temporary reprieve on the yen at the moment, but that initial strength that we saw coming through, we have already double bottomed on it and bounced. We're having another go at the bottom now. So if this bottom breaks, we know there's quite a few buyers in the market looking to buy this up. Be looking for support levels, which will be somewhere in the 24.72 zone for bounces for next leg higher. Again, dependent on what Kuroda says tomorrow. Euro New Zealand, very mixed bag on this one. This is obviously not got a trend at the moment. War, recovery, indecision. So Euro is kind of neutral to short. New Zealand dollar's really not got anything much at the moment. It's just flip-flopping around very much. So again, that's why you're seeing a load of flip-flopping around. So looking for support resistance bounces. So when we get back down into the 24, ideally looking for longs at the moment, but you know, tentatively it's very weak at the minute. So not a lot of movement in any direction. There's a lot of movement. It's got 166 ADR, but not a lot of directional movement. So again, this sort of thing, whenever you get in, you'll be out of it fairly quick. So just looking really for support resistance levels and any kind of pullback into 24 for longs. Euro US dollar, support bounce, waiting for it to get back down to here, potentially for taking a support bounce. But again, I want to see the next 2 days play out for the US dollar. I want to see what they're doing with this. If they slam through, this is basically the dollar index upside down, the Euro US dollar. If they slam through this low and they hold this low, that means US dollar index is strong. So we should see continuation strength in the US dollar. If that's the case, obviously we'll be looking for pullback shorts. And I suspect that's probably what we will see. But I want to see confirmation of it first. Pound, mess. So pound odd looking for shorts. There were your shorts. So waiting for the next one. Support bounce potential. We've got a few levels on this that we've got coming up. Yeah. So this area down here we know has been supportive in the past. We've kind of tapped into it a little bit, but I want to see a decent move into that zone, potentially for a little bit of a long. Failing that, we're going to come down and retest these lows. So but at the moment, obviously, we're bearish. So ideally want to be looking for short opportunities. So nice short out of there. If you want to do a counter trend, you take a long bounce, but there's nothing particularly interesting on that one either. Pound CAD, same thing, looking for shorts. So we just had a support rectangle rejection at the moment. So looking to trade down into those lows. Want to get up into here, really. Looking for short opportunities. Pound Swiss can't really trade. Pound yen, same sort of thing. Longs at the moment, but you can see how weak the pound's been compared to the rest. Obviously everything else has soared against the yen. The pound had a bit of a go, but you can see what impact the pound has had. Any kind of yen strength has actually destroyed this. This one's got into negative territory basically. So key this afternoon with the pound, we need to see some kind of indication of strength in the pound. If we get that, and then Kuroda tomorrow comes out a little bit woolly, good strength. So this is exactly where you want to be buying it at the moment. It's a risky entry here because obviously you've got two major news events coming this afternoon and tomorrow morning which affect this currency. But if we are going to continue in our current guise, i.e. no power in the yen, this is where you want to be buying it right now, targeting obviously these highs. Same pound New Zealand mess, same as the Aussie, that is. It's just a mess sideways. So pound New Zealand, take your pick, look for support resistance. At the moment we're just contracting. Symmetrical triangle, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where are we going from here? Don't know. It's going to break one way or the other. Moving averages are flat. RSI extensions really, I guess, is the best play on this one. So when we get extended on RSI, look to get in, but no direction. Pound US, looking for shorts. Again, waiting for US dollar confirmation. So looking for any kind of pullbacks to get in short on that one. New Zealand dollar CAD, same thing. CAD strength should be continuing. New Zealand dollar is really weak at the moment, so continuation shorts. There is your opportunity on that one. Again, I'm doing some analysis at the moment based on the 60-40 levels as well with these trends. Those are the levels used via the Market Reversal Alerts EA trend continuation set files. So I'm doing a bit of analysis over the last couple of months on those. I'm finding the vast majority of the time it coincides with a 24 bounce anyway, so doesn't really matter if you use the 60-40 or the 24 really, but you just want to make sure you've got the overall trend bias. New Zealand dollar Swiss can't trade. New Zealand dollar yen, same thing, looking for longs. You can see this is very similar to the pound yen chart. New Zealand dollar has been very, very weak when this yen strength has come through, which has obviously given the yen a much bigger pullback on this. So this yen, the pound yen and the New Zealand yen are the ones where we seem to be putting in a bearish, starts of a bearish market structure break. Again, it's all going to depend on what happens tomorrow. This will power up, obviously, against the yen if the yen continues to weaken. But the New Zealand dollar hasn't got much strength. So if you're going to trade the yen and assume that the yen is going to be continuing to be weak, probably the pound and the New Zealand are the two that you don't want to pick. Probably something like the CAD. I mean, the CAD yen is probably the best thing to trade at the moment, or Aussie or US for longs. But New Zealand US, again, shorts at the moment. Trades were in there, played out very nicely. US dollar CAD sideways at the minute. We've got a strong currency against a strong currency. Therefore, we are getting a rotation. Again, this may change. We don't know what's happening with the US dollar. But at the moment, I'm waiting for us to get up to there to try a short. Very extended on the RSI. Did anybody take this yesterday? It's kind of unravelling itself, isn't it? It just looks like the pound. The US dollar does want to continue to strengthen up. And obviously, with what we've got going on, I mean, it's bullish at the minute, but with what we've had going on with the indices this morning with those drops, it does bode well for a strong pound, strong US dollar rather. US dollar Swiss, no idea. This will be an interesting pair if we get the Swissy. If this is going to be the start of some good Swiss franc strength, which hopefully it is, if this holds and we get a continuation push on this, we know we've got some strength on the Swissy. Any kind of pullback in the Swissy, be looking for that. But this will be an interesting pair to trade because we will probably go into this sort of range-bound area where you get strength in the US dollar while the Swiss franc is weak, and then the Swissy powers up, drives it back down again, and we get that lovely market structure movement. So one of the best pairs to trade when the Swiss franc's trading normally, but we just haven't seen it. So hopefully that's going to kick into life, but wait till next week. I want to see what happens, see how it plays out. And US dollar yen, there's that 135. So this will be a key level. It'd be very interesting to see what Kuroda says, considering he called this as the level that they would not be uncomfortable with. I'd be interested to see what he says tomorrow. Are you still comfortable or uncomfortable with that, Kuroda? Now that you're there. It's all right saying, yeah, you know, it was around here, wasn't it? He was saying, yeah, we'd be all right if you got up there. We're there. Now what? Now what are you going to do about it? You're even more stuffed than you were there. You've bought yourself a month. What next? This is what we're waiting for tomorrow. What next for the yen? So, again, need to get all this news out of the way this week, and then we'll have a little bit of a better idea what we want to be doing. But at the moment, pull back longs. At the moment, we're just accumulating. So, or breakout longs if you want to, if you're a breakout person. So drop down, take any reverse alerts long. Assume this is the one where we're going to start that breakout. High time frame. About to get one on the hourly as well. So. So that's everything, but obviously, as I say, everything at the moment, technical analysis at the moment is very much, it's right now, this is what it looks like, but this afternoon and tomorrow is obviously going to be a slightly different story. So when we get this out of the way, next week we've got Aussie dollar monetary policy, over to CPIs, PMIs, normal news. So we should get some decent price action next week, hopefully. Looking forward, I'm just seeing when the next rates are. I haven't got anything else at the moment, so that's good. So yeah, so that's where we are at the present. So I will be using the EA basically to get into stuff, as I was before the war. Starting again from next week, so I'll get everything set up. But I'm going to be very much as I was before. I'm going to be putting the EA on charts when I see things starting to set up, ready to get into them, rather than just running it on all pairs, which is obviously how I do stuff. We are pulling off these lows now. So that was the last flurry off of that Swiss move. We got a nice W forming there. So market structure's just shifted. So we are pulling back. There's your last accumulation, which is basically exchange open. So the way it is at the minute, I would be looking, if we get into the 2050 area, I'd be shorting today. Be looking for shorts out of there rather than longs. Things shot. It's all shot. But we have just pulled into those lows. We've got a long way to go. Look, it's just such a big pullback opportunity. If it hadn't have done this morning and absolutely collapsed back down into these lows, we haven't got this gap. It's melting away. Okay, so be aware of news this afternoon, 12 o'clock. I'll be in the Telegram channel anyway, but as I say, I'm not really taking any positions at the moment. I have got one on at the moment on a Euro US, but at the moment we got a bit of US dollar strength coming through, so this is double bottom, sort of a swing back up into there, but it's not working at the minute, so I'll be getting in again down here. Yeah, so I'll be back tomorrow morning 7:50, same time. We'll do an overview of the markets as usual, and we'll see what's happened with those pound rates, and obviously what's happened with the yen. So by the time I'm on tomorrow, the yen statement will have happened, so it'll just be a case of popping over to Financial Juice and having a look at what was said. Russian oil output in May. So we'll be looking at basically what's happened with the yen tomorrow morning as well. So all news will be out of the way, and hopefully we'll get some indication of where we're going to go. So if you need anything, I'll be in the Telegram group. Good luck with the rest of the day. If you're going to trade these indices, at the moment it's short, obviously. Market does not want to buy up at the minute. So in the New York session, if we're down anywhere near the previous day's low or yesterday's low, there's going to be some limit orders down there. Everyone else is seeing this. So there'll be a lot of people trying to buy the lows here. Stock is cheap, very cheap at the minute, but obviously market is continuing to melt. So a lot of people getting caught the wrong side of this constantly over and over again. Me included at the beginning of the week. So be very careful trying to long this. We've seen how fast it melts at the minute. Alright, so I'll be back tomorrow morning, 7:50, same time. If you've got any questions, come in the Telegram group, I'll be in there. Any questions about EA, etc., etc. I'm spending literally today doing analysis, back testing, and I will be doing the same thing tomorrow. Just basically short-term back testing. If you're interested, what I'm doing at the moment is short-term back testing, which is back testing the strategies over the last 2-3 months, basically. Just looking at performance, basically. So seems to be holding up pretty well, assuming that you're trend trading. So that's the thing. If you've got an established trend, stick to it. If you haven't got an established trend, it's literally support, resistance, bounce. That's all I'm doing. Low time frame, M5 entries on everything. So, but we'll cover that. We'll see it all unfolding next week anyway. All right, so have a good one. Anybody needs anything, come in the Telegram group. Otherwise, I'll be back tomorrow morning, 7:50, and keep your eyes peeled 12 o'clock for the pound rates. Have a good one.